Hello there everybody, welcome to the last video for 2019. As we draw closer to New Year's Eve, that is tomorrow. And traditionally I'm going to do a little summary of this year. Last year I did it in the form of an award show, but as I said, it took a whole lot of time of preparation and filming, and most of all editing took like an eternity. So this year I took the easy way out, and I'm going to do a normal top 10 of the best findings of this year. 2019 have been an okay year for record digging. Been doing some great finding. The problem is that this year is has been one of the toughest year when it comes to thrift stores and second-hand stores. It's been clearly shown that many people are starting to sell more and more of their goodies to eBay and Tradera and so on, or going to their record seller in the city and selling their records there, or keeping them for future generation, or for because they know what stuff are worth actually. So it's been a little bit hard to dig outside of these record bin junk that we see all the time, but it has been a great year for record fairs and so on. So managed to find some pretty great stuff anyway. And of course, Sundsvall has now a record store, so I've been doing some great findings there as well. So hopefully great top 10 when it comes to findings of 2019. Let's go on to it, starting with number 10, and a record I found in the spring record fair. It is a record that is a band, but it sounds, when you listen to it, more like a one-man show. I'm talking about JorgenS live album from 1981. JorgenS band in a very great and spontaneous mood. It seems like they're having fun, even though Michael is taking all the light, more or less. If you thought that the other brothers were in the shadow before, when they were JorgenS 5, it's nothing compared to what they are here. Much stuff from off the wall, but also from their JorgenS previous album before this. And it is a really funky, a really great, and a fantastic mood in this live album. Got really knocked out when I heard it. So definitely puts the JorgenS in top of one of the best soul bands and funk bands of forever. Number 9, it's a box set. We have, it's not often I manage to find a box set from Verve at a thrift store. Those are normal, very expensive, so very, very happy to have found this. Star Portrait, Oscar Peterson. This is a best of, or a tribute to his normal collaboration with Ray Brown and Ed Thigpen. And 2 records with stuff from Night Train, stuff from various stuff, and also some stuff that I actually didn't have before that was so fantastic good. So though definitely one of my best findings this year, this Oscar Peterson box. Number 8, coming to something that I don't do all that often, blind buys on full-length vinyls. Not really blind buys, because nowadays, as I have internet on my smartphone, I listen to some quick peeks. If I'm curious about an artist I don't know what it is, I listen to quick peeks on YouTube or something like that before making my decision that this might be good. And but still, you can't of course tell whether or not an entire album might be good. But I had no idea who this actually was. I just thought that the album covers looked so magnificent, great, and I checked it out, and it looks really marvelous. So I gave it a shot, and it proved out to be really, really great. I'm talking about Isao Tomita, or Tomita as he's called on the albums. Uh, uh, Japanese multi-instrumentalist, call it a bit Jean-Michel Jarre-like, instrumental ambient music with very, very early synthesizers, but they're really, really relaxing, really fantastic. And as I love Jean-Michel Jarre and that kind of stuff, this was really up my alley. So I was really, really surprised with how fantastic this album actually was. So hopefully I will find more Tomita in the future. Number 7, Swedish. I don't have. I have some Swedish records here, but not that much. This one I found in the beginning of the year, and it's still one of the best albums when it comes to quality that I've heard. Not that much about what it's worth, but this is definitely quality. It's such a fantastic album. I'm talking about Swedish singer Pernilla Andersson and her album Ö, as in the Swedish word for island, I guess. And this is Swedish singer-songwriter style. I compared it a lot to a female version of Peter Lemark or something like that. She has a fantastic voice, and the melodies and the lyrics are really, really fantastic. Really relaxing guitar, pop guitar, singer-songwriter style, and I really like this album very, very much. I might go so far to say that this is one of the best Swedish albums during the 2010s. So highly recommended, even though she sings in Swedish. Coming to number 6, and an album that I was very surprised when I heard. I confess that there are a lot of these new wave synth artists from the 80s, from the British 80s, that I need to check out more, that I have very little knowledge about, and shameful enough, John Fox was one of them. The former singer of Ultravox back in the days when they were more of a punk band. But like the rest of the members, he also went to synth pop when it became popular, and among many, he released this fantastic album, The Garden. I was able to find this for only $1, and I don't. That's been pretty low when it comes to new wave and synth pop for the past years. But actually, this year has been a little bit of a rise. I'm going to come back to that later on, but this year has been a little bit of a rise when it comes to new wave synth pop, and this album is the icing of the cake, because this is really a fantastic album. Both when it comes to mood, it oozes British early 80s, but also when it comes to experimental, it's relaxing. It is mysterious in the production. I really love this album. Maybe one of the best synth pop albums that I have bought in many, many years. And how has it been this year? Sadly enough, it has been, when it comes to formats, it has been a little bit of a low period when it comes to lower period, I'm going to say, not a very much low period, but lower period when it comes to full-length vinyl. As I said in the beginning, much because of people have realized the value of it. So it's hard to find other stuff than this traditional flea market garbage. What I'm very happy for is that there's been a huge rise for vinyl singles. Vinyl singles have been something that has been really hard to find good stuff of the past years, and also when it comes to 80s, as I do have so much, it's hard to find stuff that I don't have. But this year have been a great exception, especially when it comes to the autumn. You see me show very much vinyl singles in my updates, and it's also been a continuing of a great success for CDs. I might even say that this year has been even a bigger rise. Last year was a huge rise when it comes to finding CDs, and this year has been an even more rise. I don't know if it is because CDs right now is extremely low when it comes to people's priorities, because as you might remember, during the summer and late summer, I did get a whole lot of CDs for free from friends, and for a summer flea market that I was on, and I managed to find very much CDs at Erikshjälpen among others. So it's been a really great CD year. CD singles, normal, not that much of interest. Little rise for 78s. I mean, doing some interesting 78 finds this year, so little rise actually for 78s. When it comes to genres, as I said, rise for new wave synth pop, and a little bit of a downside when it comes to 70s soul. No, I have not been able to find that much 70s soul as I have been for the past 5 years, but also a bit of a rise for 80s, and that is I'm very happy for. 80s has been having a little bit of a trouble the past years to find stuff that I don't have, but this year has been a great year for 80s music. Jazz still as very high is one of the stuff that I find the most great jazz. So jazz still very high when it comes to genres, and also other 70s has also been, outside of the soul, has also been very high. So right now it is a whole lot of jazz and a whole lot of other 70s that has been most of this year, but need to be better with 70s soul. You can never get too much of that. Now let's go back to this year's best findings, and we come to number 5, and there 3 records are on the same place because they are in a series. It was in the pretty much beginning of the year that I managed to find these 3 in the series of svenska swing-epoken 1935 till 1939. Swing, the Swedish swing era, 1935 to 1939. Volume 1, 2 and 3. These were released back in 1968, I think. And there are already a massive series of Swedish jazz compilation released. It's called Svensk Jazzhistoria, that was released in 10 albums many years ago. But this is also a stuff that is highly recommended if you're interested in Swedish jazz music, because it contains the best of the best from the 30s, and a lot of stuff that also aren't on these newer jazz, Swedish jazz history series. Among others, songs with Swedish musicians plays together with Benny Carter and band musicians from him. So this I was really happy to find, and they are really, really good. Some of the best the Swedish 30s had to offer. Number 4, and we're coming to yet another 3 records on the same place, but they are not there because they're in the same series. They are there because they are found at the same time and they are released by the same label. So I thought it was a great idea to put them on the same place. I'm talking about these 3 records from the Swedish label Tax. A very small label that have been releasing a whole lot of jazz stuff that you don't find all that much. Small band swing in all its glory. And these 3 are releases with Duke Ellington in smaller swing bands, or should I say also Duke Ellington musicians at the solo adventures with their own bands, even though Duke Ellington are playing on some of them. This is Johnny Hodges and recordings from 1938 to 39, and these are Cootie Williams and the Boys from Harlem and Cootie Williams and his Rug Cutters. Recordings from the late 30s and early 40s. It's not often I do find this great small band swing on vinyl and at thrift stores and second-hand stores or stuff like that. More or less I've heard them only on the Swedish radio when I was younger. And finally I managed to find them on vinyl. And these are really, really great, from the more Duke Ellington melodic and sentimental Johnny Hodges album to the more happy swing Cootie Williams, and really fantastic releases from this record label Tax. And top 3, and I can already now say that top 3 consists of singles, 7-inch singles, which is a proof of what I said, that 7-inch singles have a massive rise this year. This one I found at the Game and Record Fair, or should I say Game and Record Market, this spring. Was really happy about that. This is a limited edition with Simple Minds Stand by Love from 1991 and the Real Life album. What's really fantastic about this is that I paid very little for it and it is a limited edition. Individually numbered, I can count on my 5 hands how many albums I have that are individually numbered. I don't think I have any, even though this is a very high number. This is 10,226, but I don't care. And it includes it is this fantastic envelope looking sleeve, and it contains a poster of Simple Minds, and very rare. I'm very happy to find this as the Simple Minds fan that I am. At number 2 we have a single that I was so happy to find at this autumn's record fair. I knew it was released on physical format, but I never knew that it was released on a single, and that made my jaw drop. It is, for me, it is very, very valuable as a collector of old radio shows, because this was a theme for the night radio that we had in Swedish radio here for many, many years in the 80s and the early 90s. And it is a classic one. Paris France Transit, who contains of the rest. There was the 70s synth pop band, late 70s synth pop band Space, that broke up, and one of the members couldn't continue as Space due to copyrights. So he transformed it into Paris France Transit and released this magnificent, airy, mostly instrumental, as there is a choir humming in some place in the end, and this relaxing, almost ambient Paris France. A magnificent finding that I'm so happy, because I didn't know it was released on a single, and it's really, really fantastic song that I have liked for many, many years.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. And surely you'll buy your pint cup, and surely I'll buy mine.
So, who is number one? And number one is not because it's valuable. It's not there because that it is that much good. It's maybe there because of the opposites. It's pretty bad, but it is because it's I've been looking so much for it, and 99% of you have no idea what this is, or was when I showed it in my previous vinyl CD update. But I found it at the Mega Flea Market that was in November, and I was so happy because I've spent almost 25 years, no, 15 years looking for this one in a physical format, and finally I found it. Erkki Tussavainen and his disco version in Swedish of Neil Sedaka's "O Carol." It is a shameful classic. It is hilariously bad, but I really like it because it's so. I laugh at it every time I hear it, and I've been searching for it so much. And once again, no, Erkki Tussavainen sounds Finnish. He's not Finnish. I definitely think he has Finnish roots, but he is from Stockholm, Sweden. And he is, from what I heard, not doing music today. This was more or less his only real hit, if you can call it that. But a proof that the 70s was a little bit weird, both when it comes to people's taste and when it comes to what people made. But this, for me, is my best finding this year, because I've been searching so long for this one. So I think it is pretty natural. So, that was 2019 that we can now put an end to and open the unwritten book known as 2020, and the even larger unwritten book that says the 2020s, because this is of course also end of a decade, and let me by that wish each and every one of you not only a very, very happy new year, but also a very happy new decade, and may 2020 and 2020s be really great digging period for each and every one of you. And what happened to this channel during next year, with all discussion going on? My plan is to continue. So take care, everybody, and so long. Happy New Year.